Am I the asshole? For making an autistic joke? At a drama rehearsal, I, 15M, made a joke to my friend, 15F. We're both autistic. I was given a tie that was a clip-on, and as a joke I said, "Look, a tie for us bad people," and a fellow kid's mother interrupted us. We were laughing, saying you shouldn't joke like that. I work with autistic kids. I appreciate her standing up for autistic kids, I really do, but I am autistic, and I'm allowed to make self-depreciating jokes. So, I very politely responded, "Oh, I'm actually autistic," and she replied, "Well, you still shouldn't be joking like that." I feel that's very untrue. I'm allowed to make jokes about myself, but I simply didn't reply. I had just met her. I think it's super weird, because if I said for dumb blondes, she wouldn't have been like, "I teach blonde kids." Actually, like, I know I'm not the worst of the worst on the spectrum, but I am special ed. So, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You were making a joke about yourselves to someone else who was also okay with the joke. I think it was great that she commented, because that may not have been an okay thing to say, but in this case I think it was just fine. She's also probably used to dealing with situations where the kids she works with have overheard things like that made them sad. They also don't know who is telling the jokes if they hear it, so I can see the risk of hurting someone's feelings unintentionally. Not the asshole, but also a bad look for randoms if you don't present sped. Also, anytime you make a joke, be prepared for that reaction. Did you age backwards or something? In your previous post here you said you were 17 years old, but now you're 15? Honestly, nah. I'm autistic too and make autistic jokes all the time, but you know, time and place. Also, I'd much rather someone correct me and be wrong than just not care, or worse, join in. 20 days ago you were 17 years old and referencing crack to your ex-addict mother, and today you're a 15-year-old autistic kid telling jokes about being autistic. May take it as a teachable moment. Generally it's not really well received to use the term sped. I am a special educator and registered behavior technician, no biggie, but I mean in context you are 15. You are occasionally going to say the wrong thing with or without autism, folded hands. I think kinda. First, unless it is an obvious physical characteristic, skin color, hair color, wheelchair usage. Other people don't necessarily know that you two are whatever category. Besides, even if you joke about your own X condition, others with X condition can be offended. For example, I am blonde, and if another blonde makes a dumb blonde joke, I think it is inappropriate. Even if it has nothing to do with me, dark skin for example, it may affect others. Uda? Yeah, 100. Feel free to make jokes about your own autism, that's totally fine. However, you gotta be a little self-aware that there are going to be people that hear you and don't know you. Making jokes about certain topics like autism around people that don't know you can get you a lot of bad looks responses. Especially since the joke was honestly a little bad taste, insinuating special ed kids are dumb and can't tie a tie. You had me on your side for the most part, but you lost me at the dumb blonde statement. Making dumb blonde jokes and making jokes about autistic people being dumb are not the same remotely, even if you are autistic. You're the asshole for making up fake stories about disabilities and addictions for karma. Next time, at the very least, try to keep you age consistent between posts. Woman facebombing. You're the asshole, you made this up. In another post you made you said you're 17 and in this one you're 15. GTFO, no one cares. Loose nah. I just think there's a lesson to be learned in this, but based off your responses I don't think you're quite ready to be receptive. I've learned over time that self-deprecating jokes are only funny to yourself and tolerable, mildly uncomfortable to most around you unless they share that same thought process, and only appropriate within earshot of whoever you're sharing the joke with. Also DX, but my biggest one was always joking about my weight, super fucking skinny. A lot of other people had always joked about my weight, so I figured it would take some of the sting off if I just made it a joke myself, but then comes a joke made at a time where someone else around also shared my insecurity and issue, and they were going through one hell of an eating disorder. Not technically my problem, and I could have said I was only joking about myself, but people do internalize things not particularly meant for them, and I don't want to be the one to make someone feel bad like others have done to me. Nah. It's just good to be mindful. It's obvious you meant no harm, and she was trying to protect others. It can get messy when making jokes, because jokes can sometimes normalize things in not so good ways. In ways where people who shouldn't be making the jokes get so used to them that they'll think it subconsciously, which can lead to someone getting hurt if they were to blurt out something because it was so normal to them. It can be a bit like a game of telephone. You and your friend are self-deprecating. Say you have a very close friend not on the spectrum who hears you saying those things. You figure you're close enough so you let it slide with them. But then they get used to talking thinking jokes like that, so they say it around someone else. Maybe that person agrees with the joke, but unironically, and that emboldens them to be hurtful, so they use it around other friends' people. By normalizing it in one place, it can seem to normalize it in others. Or people don't understand the nuance. I think you threw the woman off guard by saying you were being self-deprecating and she just fumbled out an answer. But there was a good point to be considered there. But we also have to be able to relax and be self-deprecating at times. So nah. Anyone who objects to this joke being allowed should also object to dumb blonde joke, to black people using the N-word, and basically every single professional comedian, because they all offend some people. Like how dare John Mulaney joke about his own addiction story. Not the asshole. Actually, you're the asshole because in your post history you claim to be 17 just a few posts back. Yet you're 15 here. You made up this entire story as some pathetic self-justification for making fun of autistic people. You're gross. Not to mention it's a bad joke with no punchline that just insults autistic people by insinuating they can't tie ties. So having blonde hair is obviously not the same as having an actual disability, but a non-autistic person should not be policing how autistic people speak or joke about autism. Not the asshole. You can make jokes about yourself, not other people. You can make jokes about yourself being blonde, if you are, but making fun of blondes in general might not be cool. Just because you are okay with the stereotype, many other blondes may not be. And they may be in earshot. Of course, you can say do anything you like. Nothing's stopping you. Just expect to hurt somebody's feelings at some point.